Warren Gordon and Chelsea Skates here for the party. We're interviewing Andrew WK.
Yes. So
Yes,
this
how are you guys?
good, thanks. This will be your first time performing in Newfoundland. So, what are you most looking forward to about the province?
Well, just the idea of a new place in general is exciting, and also especially in Canada because I have been to more towns, cities, places in Canada than really a lot of other countries. Of course, that makes sense considering that it's right next door.
Right.
But it's also a place I've really enjoyed. And intentionally wanted to spend a lot of time there because it was so much fun. So to get to try a new place, especially Newfoundland, I have heard quite a lot about for many years. So this is the culmination of a lot of Canadian partying, and hopefully will be the crowning glory of everything so far.
Yeah. So, are you going anywhere else on the Canadian tour that you haven't been before?
No, all the other places I've been before, but I must say this St. John's show is what sort of led to me booking some of these other shows around it, because once you get a taste of Canada, it's really hard just to go for one show. I want to stay there, soak up as much vibe as possible, because it fuels me. It gives me a good cheer and a good energy that I can take with me as I continue the party around the world. I wanted to ask you a question. Have you heard of something called Screech?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, because other folks I talked to told me I had to try something called Screech when I got to Newfoundland. Have you had? What is this exactly?
Basically, what happens is if you're not from Newfoundland and you're visiting here for the first time, there's like a little ritual that gets done down on our like street of bars.
Okay.
And you have to repeat like a silly phrase, and then you take a shot of what's called Screech. It's like a kind of alcohol, and then
kiss the cod and stuff like that.
Yeah, so they give you a certificate that says you're an honorary Newfoundlander.
And you have to kiss a codfish? That's what you said?
Yeah.
And that's just at a bar. They'll have. Is it a preserved fish or is it a fresh fish or what?
I think it's fresh. Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they just keep it on ice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a fish that's popular to the region because of fishers and people?
Yeah, it's a cod, and like that's what we fished for like 400 years or something. Like that's why people came to Newfoundland in the first place. So,
wow. Is that as I've heard of it, and of course you can prepare all kinds of fish all different ways, but codfish, if I'm not mistaken, is very popular for traditional fried fish dish.
Yep.
So is that something that is popular there as well?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, fish and chips is like huge.
That is good for me because that's one of my favorite meals, especially with a nice tartar sauce and some vinegar.
You'll have no problem getting that here.
See, now this is such great news. No one told me about this codfish phenomenon, so this is just now I'm even more excited about the upcoming trip.
Yeah, we also have this thing called a towton, which is fried bread dough, and you eat it with like maple syrup. So that's another thing you should try when you're here.
Have you ever heard of the expression "sugaring off"?
Is that like with the like maple trees?
Yeah, it's like it's from what I understand. Now this could be just from Quebec, but in Montreal and Quebec, people told me about this thing called sugaring off, where it's a maple syrup sort of frenzy, where everyone is given just gallon jugs of maple syrup fresh, and you pour it over everything. It's sort of like a pancake feast with all the breakfast foods, eggs and bacon and sausage, but you pour maple syrup over everything, and then you drink big goblets of pure maple syrup. So.
Oh my gosh. We don't do that here, but I think we should.
I mean, I like maple syrup as much as the next person, but I thought that sounded like it might be too much.
Yeah, just a little bit excessive.
Because if you eat too much of anything that you really love, then it might cross that line where all of a sudden you're sick of it and then you don't love it. So you have to really respect, like for example, I like pizza, and sometimes there's been, even the last couple of weeks, I've ordered an individual pan pizza every day. And even the days where I said, okay, I'm not going to get it today, I'm not going to do it, this is getting crazy, come 1 a.m., here I am ordering another full pan pizza. I mean, it's not huge, it's medium.
Yeah.
But it's still a lot of food for one person, but it's just so good. And I've just gotten to the point where I really think that today it's almost making me nauseous to think about it.
Yeah.
I think today I'll be able to not get another pan pizza.
I believe in you.
I appreciate talking about it. It does help me.
Yeah. Cool.
So, is there going back to the Canada tour? Is there anywhere in Canada that's not on this tour that you would like to go to?
Oh, there's tons of places. I mean, especially just further north. I'm really fascinated by, I guess, what people say is more rural
Mm-hmm.
and not very populated. But let me look at the map here because it's such a huge, massive land.
Yeah.
And I've gazed at these upper echelons, or areas rather. I mean, that's not an echelon. But just look. I mean, I've been to. I'm looking at the main list of cities here. I've been to Toronto. I've been to Montreal. I've been to Vancouver. I've been to Ottawa. I've been to Calgary. I've been to Edmonton. I've been to Quebec. I've been to Winnipeg. I've been to Hamilton. I've been to Kitchener. I've been to London, Ontario. I've been to St. Catharines, Niagara Falls. Although I didn't play there, I just went there to visit with my family for fun. I've been to Halifax. Oh, I've never been to Oshawa.
Cool.
Have you heard of that place?
Oshawa, Ontario.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty big place. I've been to Victoria, I've been to Windsor, I've been to Saskatoon and Regina. I've never been to Sherbrooke. And now, last on this list, I guess it's the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, top 20 most populated places. St. John's is number 20.
Oh.
So that's on the list. And then I've been to places like Red Deer, Kamloops.
Yep.
I guess, yeah, and I can't think of any other place, really. I mean, they're mostly on this list. But if you go way up north, like, what's the most populous place that's way up there?
I mean, like, there's three territories way up north. So I guess it'd be, like, Iqaluit and, like, Yellowknife, like, I guess the
major...
Yeah, the major cities.
Yeah.
But,
I'm seeing that.
Yeah, because, like, I don't think they usually get, like, touched by tours or anything, so I imagine they'd be pretty excited if you did end up going up there.
I've been to, just looking at the map, I remember I've also been to New Brunswick.
Okay.
One time. I don't think I've been to Prince Edward Island, though.
Yeah.
But have you been up there? Like, have you been to Whitehorse in the Yukon, or...
No, I'd love to visit, but...
It's just real cold, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the issue. I can't even imagine how cold it is. Jeez.
It's probably cold year round, though.
Yeah.
Well, I like winter. I always have. Very, very, very much. I prefer, if I had to be forced, I'd prefer to live a place that was always cold year round versus a place that was always hot.
Yeah.
And I like the snow and just that atmosphere because it's cozy. You get to, it's cozy if you're inside.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, it would suck if you were stranded. But that always just appealed to me. And I grew up in Michigan, very close, to that border with Windsor, right across from Detroit. So we would go to Windsor quite a lot, in Toronto, and visit around there just for family trips and whatnot. So it's always been a place that I really enjoyed, and I enjoyed the sensibility. Canada is a party country. It just is.
So, you're performing here on the 29th of March, and it's a solo show, so I guess what can fans expect from your performances?
Well, yeah, thank you for asking. It is a solo show, and actually this type of show, I've been doing solo shows since the very beginning of my career as a professional partier. Before I had a band, I still love playing with my band. I just like playing all different kinds of shows. And when you play sort of a one-man show, there leaves a lot of room. Well, first of all, for vulnerability, it's nerve-wracking in an exciting way. I like the pressure, but also there's a lot of room for spontaneity, making up stuff right off the fly because you're in control of everything. Right. And this particular kind of solo show, I actually have to give Canada a lot of thanks for it, because that's where I kind of developed it over a couple different tours in 2006, 2007. I tried out these new ideas for a show and really put it together in Canada. So it's very exciting to bring it back to Canada now, because I think it's at its best in terms of the format and what I deliver. And I'll be playing all, songs off all my albums. It's very high energy, charged up, loud, slamming performance. I mean, it's a real party show. So it's very important that people understand it's not quiet or acoustic, although I like playing shows like that. But this is my keyboard and my pounding drum machine. It's really like electronic versions of my songs. And since they were all written on keyboard originally, I mean, that's my main instrument, I'm very comfortable and really can cut loose and I think do the songs justice in this keyboard-driven sound.
Cool.
Oh, thank you very much.
Cool. So, in your entire career, what are some of the things that you've done that you're most proud of?
I was actually thinking about this the other night because someone had asked me before, and believe it or not, it is a great question, but people hadn't really asked me that before.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just I've like been around just long enough now, about 10 or 11 years to sort of say like you have a career, like you've done something at all.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm most thankful for, or I don't know if pride is the right word, but I'm most glad that I've just been able to do anything, to have been able to build with the help of so many amazing people, this party phenomenon that I hope that Andrew WK as a phenomenon is established enough that people can think of it as a go-to feel-good source that they can turn to this thing. I don't even really think of it as just me, but this thing that we've built together, and get some good feeling out of it, whether it's from a show or whether it's from a song or from our interview right now. That what we've built is a party power positive sensation.
Right.
That's it.
So, you recently hooked up with the Village Voice. You have a column over there. How did that come about?
Well, they asked me, which I'm very thankful for. It never occurred to me to go to them with it, although I had, for 10 years, in fact, done a monthly advice column in Japan.
Wow.
Yes, in a music magazine there called Rocking On. I started doing it in 2001, and it ended towards the end of 2011.
Wow.
Almost 11 years, I guess. And every month I would take questions from their readers, and I was just shocked that anyone would turn to me for advice about anything. Certainly maybe about music or partying, but a lot of people were asking me what I thought of as very intense personal questions, and it really moved me that they would come to me. And maybe it's because I wasn't, their parent or a teacher or like an expert on these topics, like a psychiatrist or something. They thought of me as a friend they could turn to, and that really meant a lot to me. So I always tried to really give the best answers I could. And even if I couldn't give an answer, just talking with the person seemed like it could make them feel better. And certainly I learned a lot from it. So I developed that through the Japanese advice column. And when Village Voice asked me, it just was perfect sense. And I really, really enjoy it. And it's really not so much that I feel like I'm helping other people, because I feel like a lot of times I'm telling them stuff they're already familiar with, or just reminding them of what they already probably were thinking all on their own.
Right.
And it's not stuff I came up with. A lot of the advice is what my mom or dad would have told me, or what other friends of mine or people I look up to might have told me. But I really think it's just that feeling that there's someone there for you.
Yeah.
And if I can be that for somebody, that's a real good part of this positive party experience. So yeah.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, I was just saying yeah.
So you've been performing for a long time. So I guess how does the music scene now compare to back then?
Well, it's not that long. I mean,
it's long in the span of my life. I'm really young.
Are you 10 years old?
I'm like 20. You've been around for like half my life.
Well, I guess, I started taking piano lessons around age 5, so that's almost 30 years now. So I guess it doesn't feel long to me.
Yeah.
It feels very fresh. It still has this feeling that it's only just begun. And I don't know if that's because there's so much variety, or there's so many different things and unpredictable things that have happened that have made this whole adventure very entertaining for me.
Yeah.
But I also have friends that have played in bands, and they say that they're bored with it, that they say it just feels like a 9-to-5 job, and they have all these other interests now, and they sort of just play a show or record or do whatever they do, just sort of like, oh, now we got to do this. And their main interest might be their family and kids, which of course is great. Or, they get into golf or fishings and things like that. Maybe codfish. But for me, this has still been a really challenging and fresh feeling experience. And I don't know why that is. I'm very grateful. I mean, I enjoy playing these songs and doing all this that I do. I enjoy it even more now than I did even 2 years ago, let alone 12 years ago. So wait, oh yeah, I've been performing. Oh, okay, so yeah, in terms of doing Andrew WK, it's been about getting close to 15 years. And there really isn't that much of a difference. The only real difference is just the computer, and how that's added to and altered the landscape a little bit. I mean, it's fantastic with how it's facilitated recording, in my opinion. I mean, I always really love electronic everything because I always like keyboards and sounds that you can make using electronics and the way they can facilitate the ease of recording and creativity. It's a great tool. And then I also really like the way you can get any song. I mean, I remember when we were on our first tour and the computer and the MP3s that started happening, we were just completely fascinated by the idea that you could think of any song in the world and more or less get it instantly. And that just was like a dream. It was like very futuristic Jetsons kind of technology. So as far as music goes, I think it's all for the best. People that are concerned about the internet, I understand their concerns, but I don't think it's really a good use of our energy. We got to stay focused and embrace what we have to work with and go with it and make the best of it, even if it's different or even if it's lesser in certain ways than it was in the past. That's just, we can't live in the past. We got to make the best of what we have now. Right.
So what do you have in the works right now for the future?
Well, I'm primarily, thank you for asking first of all, but I'm primarily working on my first ever book.
Okay.
It's a nonfiction book. It's not about my life per se. It's not like an autobiography or, a memoir or anything. It's not even very anecdotal. It's really about the philosophy of partying.
Okay.
And it's called The Party Bible. And I'm writing it as best I can. And hopefully we'll have it done, hopefully this year. But I've never done a book before. And talking to my publisher, who came to me about doing a book, which was really mind-blowing. Simon & Schuster is an incredible company. And they've been very patient and very helpful, but they've also taught me, like, for example, if you finish an album, you can turn that in to the label and they can get it out, depending how much setup you want to do in 2 to 4 to 6 months.
Right.
With the book, they said it will just take even another year to finish editing and, design, putting it together. So it's a massive project, very new to me, just learning how to type and spell, all that was, but I have a great team. People I worked with before, and they basically do most of the writing and stuff, come up with the ideas, and I'll just say that's cool or that's not. So it is a group effort, and that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for letting me ramble on.
Yes.
It's all
we
good.
really appreciate it.
Thanks for spreading the word about the show.
Yes.
All right. Well, take good care and bite a codfish.
We'll see you on the 29th.
All right. Thanks again. Have a nice day.
Thanks. You too.